What if I told you that every text you've sent since the breakup has been working against you? Not slowly, instantly. Every message you typed with shaking hands, every paragraph you rewrote 9 times hoping to change their mind, every "I miss you" you fought to keep inside. What if all of it made them pull away even further? Right now, your chest is tight. Your phone is in your hand. You just typed something, deleted it, typed it again. Maybe you've been doing this for weeks. Maybe you've been doing this for months. And every single time you hit send, you tell yourself one lie. This will be the message that changes everything. But deep down, you already know the truth. It doesn't change anything. Because the problem was never in your words. The problem is in the energy behind them. Here's what you need to understand. People who leave aren't thinking about what they lost. Not yet. They're thinking about how good it feels to breathe freely. They're thinking about their new space, their new silence, their new independence. And the more you flood that space with your presence, the more they confirm to themselves that leaving was the right decision. You become a reminder of pressure instead of a memory worth returning to. That hurts to hear. I know. But this is where it gets interesting, because everything you thought was pushing them away is actually something you can use in your favor. You just have to flip the entire script. And that is exactly what we're going to do today. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through something most people never learn. I'm going to show you the exact psychological shift that transforms how your ex sees you. Not by begging, not by explaining, not by proving how much you still care, but by becoming someone they cannot stop thinking about. And the reason this works isn't because of some trick or some game. It works because it aligns with how human attachment actually functions. It works because it speaks to the part of their brain that craves what it cannot have. And most importantly, it works because it stops you from destroying your own worth while you wait for someone to come back. Now listen carefully. If you do this wrong, you will lose more than the relationship. You will lose yourself. But if you do it right, if you understand the psychology behind it, you will gain something far more powerful than their attention. You will gain your own power back. So here's what I need you to do. Stay until the very end. Do not skip ahead, because the real magic isn't in one single moment. It's in how everything connects together. By the time this video is over, you will not only know exactly what to do, but you will finally understand why it works. And that understanding will change everything about how you approach not just this situation, but every connection you have from here on out. You came here looking for a way to make them miss you. But what you're actually going to get is something much bigger. You're going to get yourself back. Now let that settle in. And let's begin. Have you ever noticed how the middle of the night feels like its own separate world? That's when the noise stops. That's when the distractions disappear. And that's when your mind decides to play the worst movie you never asked to see. You lie there staring at the ceiling. Your thoughts travel back to a conversation from months ago. You replay their voice. You replay the exact moment things started to shift. You try to find where it went wrong, where you could have said something different, done something better. And the more you search, the more lost you feel. This is the part nobody talks about openly, because admitting how deep this pain runs feels like admitting you're still not okay. And society tells you to move on, to brush it off, to be strong. But strength isn't about pretending it doesn't hurt. Strength is about understanding exactly what you're feeling and why, so you can climb out of it faster than anyone thought possible. See, here's what happens inside your brain during these moments. Your mind creates a loop. That loop replays memories, builds scenarios, imagines conversations that will never happen, and each cycle releases the same chemicals your brain produces when you're with that person. Dopamine floods your system. Your body almost feels their presence. And then, the moment passes and you're hit with an even deeper wave of absence than before. This is why you reach for your phone at 2 in the morning. This is why you open that chat for the 15th time even though nothing new was sent. It's not weakness, it's chemistry. Your brain is chasing a high, it thinks it can get back, and it will keep chasing it until you give it something new to focus on. But here's what most people do wrong in this moment. They feed the loop, they check the profile. They read old messages. They look at photos and let their minds reconstruct a version of that person that doesn't really exist anymore. And every time they do this, they set themselves back days, maybe weeks, because each hit of that dopamine tells your brain, this is what you want, this is what you're missing, and this is what you need to get back. And so the cycle continues. Hope becomes addiction, and addiction becomes a cage. But listen, you need to hear this clearly. That ache you feel right now, that emptiness sitting in your chest, it's not a sign that you need them back. It's a sign that your heart is learning how to let go. And letting go is not the opposite of love. Letting go is actually the highest form of respect you can give yourself. The pain you're experiencing is proof that you loved genuinely, that you gave something real, and that is something you should never be ashamed of. But here's the truth that nobody wants to accept. Loving someone deeply does not mean you have to keep suffering for them. Suffering is not devotion. Suffering is not loyalty. Suffering is just pain without purpose. So let me ask you something. How much longer are you willing to feed a loop that keeps you stuck? How many more nights are you going to spend torturing yourself with what was instead of building what could be? Because the answer to this question is the door you've been looking for. And I'm going to show you exactly what's on the other side of it. I want you to close your eyes for just a moment and picture this. You meet someone. The connection feels real. For weeks, maybe months, everything flows naturally. And then suddenly, something shifts. They pull back, they go quiet, they create distance right when you thought things were getting stronger. And your first instinct is to panic. You start questioning everything. Was it something you did? Did you come on too strong? Did you say the wrong thing? You pull out a microscope and examine every detail of the last few weeks, searching for the mistake that caused this. But what if I told you the problem was never you? What if I told you that person pulled away, not because they stopped caring, but because they felt something so deeply that they didn't know what to do with it? What if their silence wasn't rejection? It was panic. This is the core of avoidant attachment. And if you can understand this one concept, everything about what happened between you and your ex will suddenly make sense. See, people with avoidant attachment styles grew up learning that closeness was dangerous. Somewhere along the way, they were taught, sometimes by their own family, sometimes by circumstances, that needing someone is weakness, that depending on another person is a trap, that if you let someone too close, you'll lose yourself. So they built walls, not because they want to be alone, but because being alone feels safer than the risk of being abandoned later. When things get serious with someone, when the relationship starts to feel real, those old alarms go off inside them, and instead of facing the fear, they run, they create space, they pull away. Sometimes they do it suddenly, sometimes slowly, but the result is always the same. Distance where there used to be warmth. And here's what makes this so painful for the person left behind. You watched them open up, you saw them be soft, you felt their heart connect with yours, and then you watched it all disappear without any explanation that makes sense. So you chase, you ask what went wrong, you try to fix it, and the more you chase, the more they run, not because they stopped loving you, but because your closeness is now triggering the same alarm bells that have always sent them running. This is why breaking up with an avoidant person feels so confusing. They often don't even fully understand why they did it themselves. They just know they felt suffocated, even if nothing was actually wrong. And when you reach out trying to get answers, trying to restore what was there, all you do is confirm their belief that closeness leads to pressure, and pressure leads to losing themselves. Now here's what this means for you. It means you were not the problem. It means your love was too much for them to hold, not because it was wrong, but because they never learned how to hold it. It means every time you chased harder, you were essentially confirming their worst fears, that needing someone will eventually become a burden. This is not your failure. This is theirs. But here's the important part. They are not villains either. They are wounded people who never learned the skills to stay. They pushed you away, not because you weren't enough, but because their own hearts were not ready for what you were offering. So take a breath. Remove the blame from yourself. And understand this. Knowing the truth about why they left is the first step toward releasing the pain you still carry. What comes next is understanding how to use this knowledge to shift the entire dynamic. So now you understand why they left, and understanding that takes weight off your shoulders. But here's the question that matters most right now. If you keep doing what you've been doing since the breakup, will things change? Or will you wake up 6 months from now feeling exactly the same? I already know the answer, and so do you. Every single thing you are doing right now to get them back is actually pushing them further away, not because your intentions are wrong, but because the actions themselves are built on a foundation that was never going to hold. Let me explain exactly what is happening psychologically each time you reach out with no response, each time you send a paragraph explaining yourself, each time you ask for another chance. When you text someone repeatedly after a breakup, your brain is operating from a place of scarcity. You feel like if you don't hold on to this person, something terrible will happen, like you will never find this kind of connection again, like you will be alone forever. And that fear pours into every message you send. Even when your words say one thing, the energy behind them screams something completely different. What your ex feels when they read those messages isn't warmth, it's pressure. Every text says the same thing without using words. It says, I am not okay without you. You are my source of happiness. I need you to come back or I will fall apart. And the moment they sense that energy, something inside them shifts, not in your favor. See, human beings are attracted to those who seem whole on their own. There's a term for this in psychology. It's called self-contained energy. When you chase someone, when you beg, when you explain yourself over and over, you are communicating the exact opposite. You are communicating that your happiness depends on them, and that is one of the most unattractive things a person can project. Now here's the part that hurts even more. The more you chase, the more your ex's brain associates you with stress instead of safety. Every notification from you becomes a reminder of the pressure they were trying to escape. Your love, which once felt warm and exciting, now feels like weight they don't want to carry. And they start to view you not as someone who loves them, but as someone who needs them. And there's a massive difference between those two things. This is the cruel irony of what you're going through. You love them so much that you can't stop reaching out, but that very love is destroying whatever attraction was left. You are trying to show them how much you care, but all they see is someone who has lost control of themselves. And that visual is not romantic. It's not inspiring. It's frightening. Think about it this way. Have you ever watched someone chase another person so desperately that it made you uncomfortable? Did that desperation make you want to help them, or did it make you want to step back? You stepped back, because neediness repels, even when it comes from a place of love. So the hard truth is this: every text you send isn't keeping you connected to them. It's building a wall between you. Every attempt to explain yourself is adding another brick. And eventually, that wall becomes so high that the version of you they knew gets completely buried behind someone who looks nothing like the person they fell in love with. That's what this is doing to you. It's not just failing to bring them back. It's slowly erasing the very person they were drawn to in the first place. You don't need to keep doing this. And deep down, you already know there's a better way.